Hi folks, welcome to Double Wings. Today I first like to acknowledge that my assessment was not accurate last time. It appeared that the whistleblower is not a trick played by Trump. This person is more likely to be a Democrat operative. Trump has been so good at trolling the media, so I thought this time was his trick too, but it appears that it is not the case, which was why last time I actually wondered, why did Trump do this so early, since Joe Biden's probably not going to be the nominee for the Democrats. Now, to the important issue. Did Trump commit a offense so grave that impeachment is warranted? Now, I think if it is true that Trump tried to use his power to smear his opponent, then this conduct is certainly questionable, and it's up to debate if it comes to the point where impeachment is warranted. However, if Joe Biden did commit these corruption acts, then I believe President Trump has every right to investigate on behalf of tax-paying Americans. Now, my premise is, if Joe Biden did commit corruption or quid pro quo, like stated in media, that he used his power as vice president to pressure the Ukraine government to fire the prosecutor who happened to be investigating on his son's corruption. If it is true, I don't think anyone is stupid enough to say, oh, it's okay, my tax dollars end up in Joe Biden's family's pockets. I'm okay with it. I don't think anybody would feel that way. So in my opinion, what Trump did was actually draining the swamp. I heard this a very interesting treaty that I believe was signed during the Clinton era, was in the late 90s, that US and Ukraine actually signed a treaty that the government, both governments will cooperate to investigate any criminal activities. So if that treaty is still valid, then there's nothing wrong with President Trump asking for Ukrainian president's help to get to the bottom of it. For those who put up the argument that because Vice President Joe Biden is a political opponent in the coming election, so it doesn't matter if the corruption charge is true or not, Trump was abusing his power to try to investigate him. I don't think that argument is valid. Just let's suppose Joe Biden is Joe Smith. Okay, he's just an average American citizen. Then, according to the treaty I just mentioned, nobody would argue that yes, the US government has the right to cooperate with the Ukrainian government to root out corruption. Now, just because Mr. Biden is running for office, then somehow he should be treated differently than the average American citizen. Think about the consequence of that train of thought. So if any crook committed a crime, all he needed to do is to announce that he's a candidate for some sort of local or national election. And then any attempt to investigate his crime will be considered a political move. Then all the crooks in the world need to do just to perpetually announce their candidacy for some political office, and nobody can touch them. I do not believe the Constitution is set up to accomplish that. Another report I heard repeatedly in the Chinese community, I mentioned before, is that Joe Biden took more than $1 billion from the Chinese Communist Party. And Biden did claim a few months ago, as you remember, that America should not treat China as an adversary. China is somehow a friend to America. Now, I think this is actually more dangerous than the Ukrainian scandal. If it is true that the Biden family took over $1 billion from the Chinese government. One, the Chinese Communist government for sure is not going to cooperate with any investigation from the free world to disclose which politicians they have bought off. And they only need one, just one politician to make it. For example, Joe Biden. I say just for argument's sake, say Joe Biden did take the money from the Chinese Communist Party, and he somehow became the next president, and then the whole world will be in danger because he's going to be the puppet of the most ruthless dictators in the world, and everyday folks like you and me will have to be slaves like the Chinese people are now. If that day ever comes, then the rumored New World Order is truly established, where you have the Communist Party members and a few corrupt Western politicians. They're gonna be the slave masters. And you and me, everyday working folks, we all have to be slaves. Just think about the consequence of that. I know lots of people have this hatred towards President Trump, which frankly I don't quite understand. Now, I'm not American, so from an outsider point of view, Donald Trump seemed to me to be more transparent than any previous presidents have been. And he did greatly improve the US economy. And what I like the most is that he is putting the maximum pressure on China, which is the real number one enemy, not only for the United States, but for the entire free world. So my conclusion is that I think this whole drama, the key question is, did Joe Biden commit corruption? If the consensus is that he did nothing like that, I'm not talking about only the liberal media like MSNBC or CNN says that he's clean, but everyone, including Fox News and other independent media entities, also claim that Mr. Biden is really clean of all these charges. Then I think it is reasonable to consider impeachment of Donald Trump is an option. At least some sort of punishment should be dealt to the president for playing dirty politics. But if the Biden family did commit corruption and we help the left media to cover it up, then this free world is going to be in grave danger. Thank you.